College of Technology. In the lecture series, steam power cycles, we have discussed about the ideal Rankine cycles, we have discussed about the Rankine cycle with the reheat cycle, and now today we are going to discuss about the Rankine with regenerative cycle. Okay. Now let's go to the topic. So before going to the topic, let's have a small recall about what is Rankine cycle. So what is the common principle behind the Rankine cycle is heat is supplied and then work is extracted in the turbine. So the input is given is heat and the output is work done. So this is obtained with the help of a boiler, turbine and a condenser on the pump. So this is the Rankine cycle. So in regenerative cycle we are going to see how the modification is taking place from the Rankine cycle. Okay. So in our design thinking, the first stage is empathy. We are already existing, we are using Rankine cycle. What is the need to switch over for regenerative cycle? So there should be some existing problems. So that why we are going for another solution for another cycle. Like this, what is the empathy behind this Rankine cycle? So here, in the Rankine cycle, we are using here it is the heat loss has to be reduced in the condenser, and then we have to save the fuel consumptions, and then cost effective is more in the Rankine cycle, and then in the Rankine cycle the pollution is more. So these are all the existing empathy in the existing Rankine cycle. How to overcome this? Okay. So as in the DT, these are the empathies. We are going to define a problem. So what they define a problem is, we are going to increase the thermal efficiency. So that we are defining the regenerative cycle. Okay. So here in the regenerative cycle, what happens here is, so this is a boiler. Okay. Here we are having a pump. So here fluid water heat recovery. Here we are using an heat recovery systems. And here there is a turbine and then condenser. Okay. So here heat is extracted and then the water is getting heated. That is the main concept of the regenerative cycle. Okay. So now let us see how the process is taking place, okay, in detail. So here what happens is, so as we discussed, there are two pumps here. Okay. So this is the feedwater heater. Okay. Here the feedwater is going to the boiler. In the normal Rankine cycle, this water is not heated. Only the heating takes place in the boiler. But in the regenerative cycle, what happens is, the condensate from the condenser is going to the pump 1. It is pumped to the feedwater heater. Here, the steam which is taken in the turbine is used to heat the feedwater. So the feedwater is getting heated. Again, it is pumped to the boiler. So what is the purpose of this feedwater heater is? So the heat which is used to convert the water into steam in the boiler, it is reduced, so it automatically saves the fuel cost and then usage of the fuel. So as the reduced fuel cost and the usage of fuel is reduced, normally pollution is reduced. So here the turbine which is going outside, the heat which is the steam which is going to the waste heat is used to heat the feedwater. So the working principle is same as the Rankine cycle, but what is a small modification is this feedwater is used. Okay. So some heat is taken and used to heat the feedwater. So the water is preheated in the feed water heater before going to the boiler. So this is the defining part of our regenerative Rankine cycle. Now these are some assessments, so you can have these assessment questions and you can post your comments